going on, y'all? This is Slim, Chance Cowboy with the Rugged Revival. I'm here with Zane, Adamo,
Dom. Right. Yep.
Adamo with lead singer of the Soda Crackers. Thanks for joining me, Zane. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and jump in and get started. Your guys' debut album came out, correct me if I'm wrong, last Monday, the 1st?
Yeah, it's a week old. Yeah.
A week old today. Before I jump into some of my questions here, I'm gonna give a shout out to Donnie Cutler. I think he was the one that he posted probably around this time last year when your guys' first single dropped, Two Step Solution.
Yeah. We know Donnie really well. I saw him. We had a show in Hollywood on Friday and saw him there that night. We were playing with the Cowpokes that night.
Oh, cool. Yeah, they're a cool band too.
Yeah.
And so he had posted something about you guys with the song, and I was like, "What is this?" And I kind of went and I think I added the single to all my playlists right about then. So yeah, I've been. But I'll be honest with you, I've been following you guys, and I had no idea the record was coming out until probably maybe the week before or like the Friday before. So I definitely put it on my to-do list as like I'm gonna check that out when it comes out. So I've been. I love the record all the way through. So
I appreciate that.
We'll get into that. Yeah. So first off, when was because I don't know the age of your band members, but when was the band formed and how did you settle on this type of music? And the reason why I asked that is because I'll go off on a small tangent. I was in a hard rock band when I was like a teenager, kids in the basement. With some older friends. I was a drummer, but like I was the youngest and they were pretty good at guitar, to be honest with you. And it was funny because we wanted to sound like, we listened to all the heavy metal stuff like Slipknot, Metallica, but like when we got to playing, we discovered that like a softer rock ballads, kind of a slower songs. And it's like, I remember us sitting back and being like, man, why can't we play fast like the music we like? So I've always just been curious with you and your band members. Is this style of music like the Western swing, straight edge honky tonk? Was that something you guys all loved and enjoyed? Or did it just kind of come about that like, hey, this is something that we can really do?
Yeah. The band, it kind of started as like a jam session at our buddy Josh Sorheim's house in Frogtown. It's like a neighborhood of LA, kind of by Dodger Stadium.
Okay.
And that happened late 2020. And we started jamming. Guys would bring beers and pizza. We would just play songs that we all love and just hang out for 4 or 5 hours on Wednesday nights. And then we started, getting enough songs together as a group. And then we started putting some shows together. And then people kind of, went down different paths of their life, went on to go do other things. And then before we know it, I was leading the band, and we've been a band now for our first show, technically as the Soda Crackers, was in October of 2021. So we just about 4 years and some change old now. But we've always really liked Western swing. We've always liked honky tonk. But I was born and raised in Bakersfield. I live there currently. And my little brother, who was a part of the band and still is a part of the band, he lives out in Oklahoma City now. He's from Bakersfield. Our drummer, Jeff Giroux, is from Bakersfield. So we always had this like kind of Bakersfield-centric mindset, and that kind of relationship with LA and Bakersfield was always there and very strong and very well represented. And so we just kind of naturally gravitated towards becoming like a Bakersfield Sound band.
Yeah, definitely. So, okay, that's cool. And your brother living in Oklahoma City, how does that translate?
We get him when we can. So he went to graduate school at OU. And we used to get him for like the big major holidays for school breaks. But he did some recording remotely out in Oklahoma for this record. So we have some twin fiddle tracks in there.
Oh, cool.
I would say he probably did about 80% of the fiddle in the album from a couple studios he was using in Oklahoma City and in Norman, Oklahoma.
Oh, that's awesome. So I'm not even going to try to guess, but how old is the general range of the band? How old are you guys?
Yeah, so the youngest guys are my little brother and our steel guitar player. They're 27, and then Jeff is somewhere in his late 40s. And we kind of hover around. Most of the guys though are like early 30s, most part.
Okay, yeah. It's just for whatever reason, I thought you guys might have been a little younger, and I'm like, man, this is awesome. That's some early.
Everybody's a little bit older these days.
Yeah, I know. I was like, because I was going to say, like, man, if these cats are in their like early to mid 20s, that's awesome that you guys are playing this type of music and that it's still alive.
Most of us, we kind of started when the band started. We were kind of saying goodbye to our 20s. So
there you go, as it happens, man.
Yeah.
That's a whole other song right there.
Yeah.
Um, so I noticed that the album included some cover songs. Um,
Hmm.
uh, Dim Lights, Thick Smoke, which is
Yep.
pretty standard. Um, why am I blanking on the Wind Stewart? It's such a beautiful,
Okay.
yep, such a
Yep.
beautiful day, which is a standard Bakersfield song. I think
Hmm.
you kind of have to have that Wind Stewart, which by the way, I posted on my socials a couple days ago. A couple of his records are finally on streaming, so
Yeah.
I was able to sit down and kind of because I haven't heard much of Win Stewart other than some of the songs you always hear.
We
Uh,
had the privilege. We got to meet Wen Stewart's daughter, Ren Stewart. She lives out in like the Fort Worth area, and we just went on our first ever out of state tour a couple weeks ago at the beginning of November. And when Wen's daughter Ren came up and sang "It's Such a Pretty World Today" with us at the Broken Spoke,
oh, that's
then also
awesome.
at Adair's Saloon in Dallas when we were playing
That
there
is
with the
awesome.
Texas Zephyrs.
That is really cool. I bet she was stoked that people are still playing her father's music.
Yeah,
He's
and she's amazing singer. She's just like her dad. She looks just like her dad, sounds
wow.
just like her dad. She's an amazing artist, an amazing person too.
That's awesome. So you had that Dim Lights and I believe Silver Wings
Yeah.
on the album. So what
And we also had this song, I'm a truck driving, pool shooting son of a gun by another
Devin
Western
Briscoe, right?
Bakersfield Sound artist, Sonny England, who's still with us. And he comes
Okay.
to our shows. And he kind of was coming out in like the late 60s, early 70s era too, as well.
Great. I don't know much about that song. I know it was another California guy, Devin Brinsfield, cut it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was his song, actually. I had no idea that it had
Yeah.
anything prior to that. So that's cool. So how'd you guys, did any of those songs mean anything to you that the band that you guys were like, hey, we got to put the song on the record? Or was it just three songs that you guys kind of gelled and it worked?
The covers.
The covers, yeah.
Yeah. I think, we as our debut album LP, we wanted to let everybody know who we are and what we're about. And so we wanted everything and all the decisions to come back to the Central Valley of California, to Bakersfield specific.
Yep,
So all four of those songs have a very deep, direct connection to Bakersfield. And so
absolutely.
we've been playing those covers for a while. And so we kind of just all came together and we wanted to do an album where we had some originals we were thinking about incorporating to have more of like maybe 7 to 8 originals. But we felt like this band got started as a group of friends who just jammed on songs we all loved. And so we kind of decided to lean a little bit more into the covers and we have 6 originals and 4 covers on this debut album.
That's a nice blend. I mean, look, country music history is people just recording the songs that they like from other songwriters. I mean, you go back to the
Yeah.
60s and 70s. I mean, so many of these songs were covered so many times. Um, I actually don't even know who the first person to cut like Dim Lights because that song's been covered by 100 people. I'm assuming it goes back to like I'm sure the Maddox Brothers and Rose probably had a cut on it at some point.
I'm sure they did. It was written by Joe Maphis and Rose Lee Maphis
Gotcha.
about the Blackboard Cafe. And the Blackboard Cafe is where most people consider the Bakersfield Sound got started and created. It was pretty much the best and rowdiest. And well, I've heard a lot of conflicting reports. The Blackboard Cafe got torn down in I think the late 90s. In its heyday was more like the 40s, 50s, and 60s. But it was pretty much like the hub for anybody on the West Coast. If you were playing the West Coast, you made a stop at the Blackboard. And
Interesting.
Joe Maphis and Rosalie Maphis wrote Dim Lights, Thick Smoke about the Blackboard Cafe.
Interesting. Yeah, I know that song's been covered, got hundreds of times. It's a great song. It's just one of those songs that I
Yeah.
think every band has to play. So
Yeah.
that's cool. Now the other originals were theirs. Is there like one songwriter in the band? Is it you, or was there just a lot of co-writes? You guys just got in a room and wrote the original songs.
Yeah, I wrote Two Step Solution on my own. And then I also wrote Going Broke, Living Rich and Tomorrow's Used to Be. So those are my 3 songs. And then our guitar player, Ben McCarthy, he wrote Blackboard Boogie, going back to the Blackboard Cafe, Blackboard Boogie
Oh,
as an instrumental. And
yeah, I
then
actually
he
love
also
that. That
wrote,
that song really rips.
yeah.
I love a good instrumental, man, with the tight band. I love it.
Oh, thank you. I think the art of the country instrumental sometimes gets lost a little bit. And so we wanted to kind of pay some homage to like, Buckaroo
Fucking
and
roots, yeah.
Chaparral and, all these. And then he also wrote Don't Start a Fire. Ben McCarthy wrote Don't Start
Okay,
a Fire as well, too.
nice. Yeah, actually, I think Tomorrow's Used to Be and Two Step Solution are probably my 2 favorites on the album, which you
Oh,
wrote.
thank you.
Yeah, and then Blackboard Boogie was, I was just, my foot was just tapping along, tapping along, tapping along.
Yeah.
I love a good instrumental. Actually, I have a whole stack of records over there that I got to listen to. I have the Buckaroos Strike Again as one of them that I found. So
Nice.
I found a box of records at an estate sale. So it was pretty cool. So the recording process of the album. So I know the type of music you guys are doing. It's,
Mhm.
straightforward. There's no frills. There's no crazy effects. There's no crazy production, at least not that I heard any kind of production techniques. I mean, I'm assuming it was tracked live, like, other
Yeah,
than
we
your brother
recorded
playing
live.
the fiddle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
So
recorded live, and then we recorded down in Northridge at Deke Dickerson's studio down
okay,
there, and we got everything done in 2 days, and they were 12-hour days a piece, and
okay.
we got it all got it laid down and got everything done. But yeah, we did everything live in the room, just as if you were at a show hearing us, at a bar or a dance hall.
That's what it sounds like. So given the classic sound of the music, did you guys have any unique recording techniques or devices that were used, or was it all pretty much modern stuff, or did you guys record on like some old platform or something?
Yeah, Deke recorded straight to reel,
Okay.
and we also used all his vintage mics and vintage tube amps. And our lead guitar Ben has a Gibson Archtop from the '50s. Our steel guitar player is playing a Showbud from the '70s. So it's all kind of vintage equipment, almost from
Yeah.
head to toe.
Yeah, and I kind of asked the question because you can kind of hear it as like the listener.
Mhm.
You can kind of hear, like, not only does the band have this like throwback sound, but you can also kind of hear it in the production. And so that's why I asked the question. I'm like, man, they had to have used some like vintage stuff because
Yeah.
it doesn't quite sound modern, which by the way is a good thing. So
Yeah. Yeah, we tried to, there was a very small and kind of budding recording industry out here in Bakersfield, and that kind of heyday of the Bakersfield Sound. Tally Records was more of the major label out here. That's who signed Merle when he first got started. And so, those guys were recording in their guest rooms or their garages and kind of just figuring it out and seeing what worked, seeing what didn't work, and just really kind of grassroots. And so we wanted to capture that kind of essence in this album.
yeah, definitely. So I guess that's a good segue into my next question. So I've been doing a couple of these interviews now, and I love exploring and tying things together on all like the micro communities of country music.
Mhm.
We all know Nashville. Okay, it's fine. There's
Yeah.
Austin, and I guess Texas in general.
Mhm.
I know they all come from different areas of Texas. But there's. I talked to a songwriter from New York City, and there's actually a pretty big scene up there. Pretty good bluegrass scene up there too. The Pacific Northwest has a lot of things happening right now. There's all the guys in Wyoming and Montana that sing the Western stuff. But to me, and I've probably come around to this in the past decade or so or whatever, but California is actually and I guess the more than casual music fan would know this, but maybe just the regular run of the mill country music fan does not. But like California is an immense, and actually still right now, there's a lot of stuff going on in LA. Um, Seems like every time I'm hearing some honky tonk banger that I like, I'm like, where are these guys from? Oh, of course, LA. It's like they're not coming from Louisiana or Nashville. I mean, like west of Texas, for instance, Jerry
Yeah,
Zinn
yeah,
and his
Jerry.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and there's the Cowpokes talked about. There's a lot of stuff happening. So, what is that? What kind of a pride? I'm sure you have a lot of pride because you just talked a lot about the Bakersfield, but like, what does that mean that you guys are a part of this like tapestry of pretty rich country music history that a lot of people really don't know about?
Yeah. I take a lot of pride, and I feel like there's a responsibility of me being a native Bakersfieldian to represent our town and our town's music as authentically as we can. And so all decisions I make as a frontman and band leader, I always think about like what would Win Stewart do? What would Tommy Collins do? What would Buck, Merle, Billy Mize? But I always just think about how they did things, how they approach things, and I listen to all the stories I can. We're very fortunate to have a few of Norm Hamlet, who played with Merle Haggard for nearly
That's
50 years, is
yeah.
still with us, and I have lunch with him as many times as I can just to like soak up stories and how he handled things on the road and what Merle kind of talked about and all that kind of stuff. And so I love kind of being an ambassador, and the band's kind of an ambassador for the Bakersfield Sound, that real 40s, 50s, 60s era of the Bakersfield Sound. And then there's so much cool things happening out here on the West Coast. And there's a lot of good people like our buddy Jeffrey Miller, who's up in Sacramento. Sacramento has a great scene
Yeah,
as well.
his new record's good too.
Yeah. So we love going up there, and he's been really helpful and kind of come down here. And well, it seems like a lot of the West Coast is really, we're starting to really pick up some steam here pretty quickly.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. I mean, the past couple of years, I feel like everything that I've like really liked has all been like California based, and it's crazy because like I'll say that to I'll give you a funny story. I have a 13-year-old, and he's upstairs right now, and he's into country music, but more modern stuff. But I put stuff on his playlist all the time. I sneak stuff in there for him to kind of like absorb. I do know he likes Jerry Reed. But I mean, Jerry Reed's very charismatic. I mean, but he asked me about 30 minutes ago, who are you interviewing again? And I told him the name of the band and everything. And I said, they're from California. And he was like, California, dude. He was like doing that stuff. And I'm like, see, that's the typical, I mean, he's 13. He would know the difference, but like, that's the typical response that I would get from almost a lot of people where I'm like, hey, there's actually a lot of really good country music coming out of California, like in LA. And they're like, what? No, there's not. I'm like, no, there definitely is. So
we got to go out to Texas and Oklahoma, and I was really excited to kind of show people that, a lot of people who aren't from California think there's just the Bay Area and then LA in terms of like, surfer kind of dude LA. But we kind of showed them like, no, California's a very big state. It's very similar and very different in many ways to where we were playing out in Texas and Oklahoma. But, Bakersfield specifically, almost, I'm a descendant of Okies. A lot of people from the Dust Bowl migrated out to the Central Valley. And so, I'm only 2 generations away removed from, my roots out in Oklahoma. So there's a lot of people, and a lot of just about every single Bakersfield Sound musician came from Missouri, came from Oklahoma, came from Texas. The only major recording artist from Bakersfield was Merle Haggard. Yeah. Everybody else came from the Dust Bowl.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, Merle's parents came from Oklahoma before he was born, right?
Yeah. But he was born in kind of like a neighborhood just north of the Kern River called Oildale.
Yeah. And then Buck was born in Texas. Yep. Came to California. Yeah. So
Tommy Collins from Oklahoma City. Wen Stewart, I think, is from Missouri. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I think you're right. Yeah. I was actually reading when I was absorbing the 3 or 4 Win records that came on streaming. I was looking up some stuff, and I was like, oh, he's from Missouri.
Yeah.
Another family that migrated west. It's kind of it's a cool little history lesson. So
yeah.
So 2 more things. I guess the first one, what's next for you guys? I know the debut album just came out. What are your plans for 2026? Are you guys just going to be hanging out in California, or do you guys got some other big plans coming up?
Yeah. So our last show of the year is this Saturday here in Bakersfield. We have one kind of like true, honest dance hall left still in Bakersfield. And I'm a part of the board of directors at that dance hall, the Fairfax Grange.
Sweet.
And so we're helping keep the lights on at that place, and we put on shows there. So we're having our debut album show there with Emily Rose and the Rounders. They're coming up from LA.
Yeah, she was playing. I saw Orville Peck live, and she was playing guitar for him last year.
Yeah. So we're excited. That's gonna be her first time in Bakersfield, and we're really looking forward to having her up there. So that's gonna be a great time. And then looking forward to 2026, we're gonna do some more out of state stuff. Hopefully, definitely go back out to Texas and Oklahoma, and then kind of just keep chipping away. I would like to record more too, make some more time for that, and just kind of see how the next year goes for us.
Well, if you're anywhere close to the East Coast, I'll come see a show. But I know that's a lot to ask for a band from California. It's and so it's a lot to ask. But we got some places around here. But
if you would have told me like 2 or 3 years ago we'd be playing the Broken Spoke in Texas, like I would have laughed you out. I'm like, no way. There's it's just it seems like it's so hard and so difficult until you start putting the pieces together and figuring out a way to make it happen. So I would love. We met a gentleman at our show last night in Fullerton from Fayetteville, North Carolina. And he was telling me about the Carolinas, Tennessee, Georgia, and all these places. And I was like, we would love to go out there too as well.
Yeah. So it's shoot, what was I going to say? I was talking to somebody the other day, and I forgot what I was going to say. We were talking about touring, and I forgot. Oh, the Broken Spoke. Yeah. I visited Texas. It was like kind of a lifelong thing. My paternal grandfather, who I never met, was from Texas.
Mhm.
And I did not know he was a Texan until I was like 22. And I was like, wow, it makes sense. I'm obsessed with Cowboys and stuff. It all makes sense now. But anyway, so I visited Austin and I went to the Broken Spoke. And yeah, I mean, it was like going to like your like church or something.
Yeah.
I couldn't just walk in the door and be like, oh yeah, I'm here. Like it almost not to sound like stupid or ridiculous, but there was something like romantic. And I kind of just like stood there and I couldn't believe I was standing here. I mean, it's just a building,
Yeah.
but like the history that place has and the people, the Willie Nelson booth and,
Mhm.
the Jerry Jeffs of the world and, Bob Wills probably later in his life, but, just the people that had been there and like what that meant to me being like a country music,
Yeah.
fanatic. It kind of took my words away for a minute. Like I
Yeah.
wasn't really saying much. That was because I was just taking it all in. And I spent a very long night there, saw a band, saw a couple bands play actually. And it was awesome. It was such a great place.
That's the thing, and there's on one hand, I'm optimistic about Bakersfield. I feel like is really kind of going through a rebirth, and there's people like our buddy Devin who's putting out great music, and there's a lot of great talented musicians here in town. And but Bakersfield used to have six, seven, eight, nine broken spokes, and we used to have dance halls. We used to have honky tonks, and slowly but surely they kind of just fell into wrong hands, got shut down, got turned to a tire shop. And before we know it, we have no historic honky tonks left anymore. And there's one dance hall, the Fairfax Grange, that's still it's got its doors open. And then there's another dance hall that's now kind of like a banquet kind of center. So it's not really what it used to be at all, but the structure is still there. But we used to have, we would have plenty of places to play with the history that the Broken Spoke has. But Bakersfield, unfortunately, we kind of lost that kind of uniqueness over the decades. But I think with people doing really cool stuff here in town, recording, going out and kind of showcasing what Bakersfield is doing right now, I think we'll turn the ship around real soon.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, before we part, a little fun bonus question here. I know that thing said one, but if there was three artists that you could take with you, the old question, you're on a secluded island, you can bring three artists' full back catalogs, discography with you, but no one else. What would your three artists be that you would choose?
Oh man, that's tough.
I know.
In no particular order, or
Yeah, just whatever. Yeah, whatever three. Yeah.
well, for sure, Bob Wills. Bob Wills for sure. Merle Haggard,
Yep.
and then I would have to I don't know. It's a tie between Buck and Win, I think,
Yeah.
but leaning towards Buck. But I
Yeah. See,
feel bad. I love Win too.
I know, but when I had to answer that question, I thought about depth more than like my three favorite artists because
Yeah,
if I'm going to be on an island, I got to have a lot of material.
yeah,
So you got to have somebody that has a massive discography like
yeah,
Merle. Merle would probably be in my three. Probably. I would. I'm a big time George Jones fanatic, so
yeah.
he would definitely be in there. Yeah, George and Haggard, and then like the third artist for me might be outside of country. I don't know. I'd have to really think about that. I would want to go Johnny Paycheck, but because I'm also a big Johnny Paycheck fan, but the discography's not there. I mean, he's got 7, 8, 9 really good records, and that's really about it. So, but yeah, I just thought that'd be I recorded another artist interview with her from
Mhm.
Virginia, and she hit me with John Prine, Tom T. Hall, and Etta James, and I was like, wow, that's a pretty good Tom
Yeah,
T. Hall. Wow, that's a pretty good. It was pretty eclectic
yeah.
uh, selection there, but she had some pretty good reasons why. So yeah,
I've been known, and I've had people say I'm a little too near. I need to broaden my horizons a little bit, but I just really keep digging and just trying to go deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole with those guys. And for me, like my favorite Bakersfield Sound artist is Buck Owens because my favorite era, just for a lot of reasons, just I think the 1960s is just very very unique and very interesting about that time of period in America, and especially the country music that was coming out. And Buck Owens from like 63 to 68, 67
so it was
was
unstoppable. Yeah,
couldn't be touched. And I think some of the best country music in all of country music happened in the 60s. And
absolutely.
Buck Owens was his own competition. That just blows my mind.
Yeah, no, I have consistently said
Yeah.
that it almost goes in order, maybe, but the '60s was absolutely the best decade for music. I think there's
I
for
agree.
all genres, and I think that's cultural. I think it's technology, the economy, whatever you name it. It all just kind of happened.
Yeah.
Rock and roll. If you're into Beatlemania happened. I can't stand the Beatles, but Beatlemania happened. country music, the Nashville Sound, and then later in the decade there was new guys coming up, Conway Twitty, Charlie Pride,
Yeah.
and some of those, Capitol Records stuff and the truck driving stuff, and yeah, soul. I mean, I'm a big time. Actually, soul is probably like country has all these little subgenres that I'm obsessed with,
Yeah.
but number two main genre, I love '60s Motown stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, it's just fantastic. I mean, it never gets old. So like, yeah, to your point, I mean, the Buckaroos. I mean, you put on a Buck Owens record today with the Buckaroos, and it still blows musically. It still blows people's minds. They were so tight as a band. The musicianship was just it was so tight. And you read about that weird thing that Don Rich and Buck had. They kind of like knew where the other person was going. They were like kindred spirits almost. So yeah, I've always said that with the '70s coming next, and then maybe back to the '50s, and then probably '80s and '90s. It's actually going like downhill. It kind of regresses in order.
Yeah.
I love the '70s, all the Willie and Waylon and Jerry Jeff and the Texas stuff, and even I'm a big fan of '70s rock too, and yacht rock. I mean, yacht rock's great. so so yeah, all right, man. Well, I don't mean to take up more of your time. I could talk about country music for 3 more hours. So everybody, Zane Adamo with the Soda Crackers. Debut album is out now. I would recommend you go see a show if you're in Cali. Buy the merch, buy the album on Bandcamp or the website. Do you guys have a vinyl out?
Yes, we do. We have 2 colors. We have a limited edition Tequila Sunrise, and then we have it in standard black too as well.
Great. Where can you buy the vinyl from? Your website?
On our thesodacrackers.bigcartel.com. It's our online store.
I did not know the vinyl was available yet, so I will probably be there to pick up some vinyl myself because I love
go
vinyl.
onto our Instagram. We got our link tree and all of our links, and just take you right there.
Great. Well, Zane, thanks so much for your time, man. I love the album. I'll be plugging it and showing people and telling people to listen to it because it's good stuff. It's what country music should be. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you. And then if you're ever coming through Bakersfield, let us know.
I will, man. It's California in general is on my travel list. It has been for years. I've never been further west than Las Vegas, so
do it.
It's definitely on my list, man.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, bud. Take care. I'll talk to you.